Not officially recording the episode.
Understood.
Yeah. I wasn't even talking into the mic. I was just leaning back, having a good time.
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess Vertigo could be in book news.
Yeah, I already put it there.
Yeah. Okay.
Snaps.
All right.
Yeah, well, we got a person who and a comic book line that have both ended.
Yeah. What number was that other episode? You have that handed?
What episode number? 97?
Yeah.
Sorry.
79.
79.
Let's
Sorry,
do it.
guys. We are. We're live.
Okay.
I mean, we're on the internet.
Yeah, and I meant let's do the real thing.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do this then. Welcome to episode 200.
We did it. We did it. They said it wouldn't last.
They did?
The early critics were very vocal about
Who were these critics?
Oh, it's not important.
The early days.
They were very vocal.
Episode 1.
They were very, so one of you's got it, one of you doesn't.
Really?
Yeah.
I do not remember these reviews.
They liked the one in the tie. I don't know what they. I don't
That's
know
weird. I never wear a tie.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, what are you wearing right now?
Oh, I just got a tie on.
That was me.
I know.
So
It's exciting.
Mhm.
200.
Mm-hmm.
200.
Yeah.
So what is this? Is this going to be year 3 or year 4?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
that
I guess
only
year
our
4.
listeners can
That's
answer.
right.
2015
Yeah.
is when we started.
Yeah. So in August, the first episode dropped like August 21st or something like that.
Yeah.
Coming up on 4 years. But
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Yeah.
200, quite a milestone.
That's pretty exciting.
Well, thanks everybody for listening.
I guess we should see how many Star Wars episodes we've done.
I guess
Because
we should go
as
back.
long as we've recorded, there's
Yeah.
been Star Wars movies.
That's right. That is right. I wonder how many out there have actually listened to all 200 episodes.
You know what? We just had last October was
Yeah.
Halloween Now 4,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, you're right. Woo! What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna use some of this fun momentum that we've got going here to talk a little bit about our library's past.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about that a little later, and we've got some other book news early on.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we just start with our 200th bookmark?
We haven't even really said anything.
About
If you haven't been here for 200 episodes,
that's a weird time to start, but welcome.
Yeah.
I mean, we're glad to have you.
this is the All the Book Show.
Yeah.
Recorded at the David A. Howe Public Library.
Yeah.
We talk book news, author news, and literary news.
Yep.
We've been doing it for 200 episodes.
Absolutely.
In case, a little bit more.
Yeah. Truth
So
be told.
this is number 200.
Truth be told,
It's-
this is the 200th numbered
We've
episode.
had some
Yep.
pretty cool unofficial
We sure
releases.
have.
A couple of B-sides, if
That's
you
true.
will.
That's true.
So-
Last year we did a live episode from the Angelica Fair.
That's true.
We're going to be doing that again, the
Yeah.
Allegheny County Fair, next month, July.
The Mike Nesmith episode, that's technically... that's an off the books, right?
It is an off
so
the
that's
books,
a
yeah.
B-side.
Yeah,
Mike
that
Nesmith
is.
got
That's
another
a deep
B-side.
cut.
Yeah,
That's
there you go.
It's like when the Beatles put out like Penny Lane just as a single.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing.
Or when Paul McCartney put out California Girls.
I don't think you should. No, that was the Beach Boys.
This is a B-side.
It was the Beach Boys.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Do you want to do bookmark? I think you should go first.
I should go first for
Yeah,
bookmark?
I think you should.
All right. Well, since I get to go first for bookmark,
I don't know why you have an attitude about it.
yeah, I did kind of, didn't I?
You did.
I guess after 200 episodes, it's
Yeah,
just
tone
like...
it down.
all right, what did I finish? I
We
finished...
started recording these. You're familiar with the David A. Howe Public Library. We started...
Me? Yes.
Yeah, just our listeners.
Oh, okay.
We started recording this in the Monday Club room at the time.
Yeah.
When the room was empty, we'd go in there and we record.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started recording upstairs in the library, which was at the time
The museum room.
basically just storage.
Yeah.
For the former
So
museum
cold.
room, it was called. Yeah, freezing cold.
Yeah.
That was pre-teen loft. We
Yeah.
recorded up there.
Not the
And then-
pre-teen loft.
Right.
But that was the pre-teen loft.
Yep. Then we had an empty office upstairs for a while. We moved in there for a
Oh,
little bit.
yeah.
Then when my office changed, we started doing it over at my desk.
Yes.
And then
We moved over
when
to this little table.
When we got some new equipment, we moved to this special table, and here
Yeah.
we've been ever since. But we've
Yeah.
also recorded at my house, your house,
Uh-huh.
down in the auditorium,
The tech room.
the tech room,
Yeah.
the Angelica Fair,
Yes.
Allegheny County Fair,
Yeah.
and all over Seattle.
Yeah.
Anywhere else?
That's true, Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like there is another place that we're forgetting, like another outdoor place.
Yeah.
It's dangerous to have
does.
all these electronics. People yelling at us to stop.
Yeah. I don't know.
So.
I think probably we've hit a point where the most of the episodes have been recorded right here at the table in my
That's
office.
true,
But
yeah.
we've definitely done some remotes.
Yeah,
which is neither here nor there. I'm just, you know how I am. I get a little nostalgic. So I'm just
that's true.
thinking about the early days.
That's true. Yeah.
Yep.
I read Blue Mars
Yeah.
by Kim Stanley
Been
Robinson.
a struggle. It's been a struggle.
I guess.
You finished it.
I read Red Mars in either 2010
yeah.
or 2011.
Okay.
I can't remember, and I didn't decide to fact check this.
Oh, well.
And then I read Green Mars in about 2014 when I was in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And now I read Blue Mars, and I'm done. It's taken me as long as these books are in pages to... I don't know where that was going. That doesn't make any sense. But that's the kind of sentence you might find in Kim Stanley Robinson's Mars trilogy. Blue Mars is the end of this trilogy. They have terraformed Mars, not only Mars, but many other planets. Mercury. They're beginning Venus, Jupiter's moons, and beyond.
Ooh.
And we live to like 200 years.
Wow.
And
That's a long time.
a lot of politics.
Huh.
Earth is overpopulated, a little bit flooded.
Boy.
A lot of bit flooded.
Ooh.
And
Starting to feel real.
yeah, it was fine. This one I enjoyed more than Green Mars. Green Mars was a slog for this guy here.
Okay.
Me. I'm
Eric.
pointing at me, everybody.
Eric. The one without a tie.
Red Mars was interesting, but again, it's just one of those things where there's a lot of unlikable characters. Though they softened up some of the characters. I guess old age does that. You start looking at characters with rose-colored...
Is this a novel
glasses.
or is this a series that was written like boom, 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 back to back to back?
Yeah.
Or was it like every 5 years?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it came out every year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
not a Game of Thrones situation.
No.
Okay.
No. I'm just behind. This marks number 31 in my Hugo reading list.
Oh,
so
that's pretty good.
I need to pick up the pace. If I die tomorrow, what have I done?
You read
I've
31,
read 31 Hugo winners. Oh yeah, good. Please put that on
But
my
I think
tombstone.
you've read some out of order as well, so you probably have read more than 31. 'Cause you've
No.
read some of the newer ones.
No, I've count those
Oh,
in my
you do?
Goodreads.
You count them. Okay,
Yeah.
well then, what do I know?
Yeah, I'm completely out of order with this stuff. And you're out of order.
This whole library's out of order.
Probably.
It's not. Please
Oh.
don't write your please don't write your
Darn.
assemblymen's or
Yeah, he got to it before I could tease our library director.
That's me.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Oh,
I was not the library director when we started this podcast.
I wasn't the teen head of youth services.
That's true. I was. What was my title?
I don't know.
Head of adult services. Head
Yeah.
of circulation and adult services.
I was.
ran the front
I mean, we're
desk and
getting
did
we're
adult
getting ahead of
programming.
ourselves
You're
here.
right. You're right. Sorry.
That's all sweet material for later. Sweet sizzle.
I know.
What
That's how I
journey?
describe
What journey did Nick take? His journey akin to the Mars trilogy by
Yeah.
Kim Stanley Robinson.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess these are books I recommend if you're really into sci-fi, because they are like what other books out there in terms of like the terraforming
Yeah.
and the level they get out of these three. Like this was 700 pages.
Wow.
And it was
That's a
too
lot.
long. I dropped my little kazoo.
Oh no. I'll vamp.
But
All I said was I'll vamp. 'cause
these are
you got back so quickly, I
definitely
never
these are
had a
definitely
chance.
books that aren't going to stay on my bookshelf as favorites.
Really?
Yeah.
Out.
So there are some books I've read on my journeys through the Hugos and whatnot. I'm like, this is great. I got to reread this someday. This is not one of them. Not one of the trilogies.
I sometimes. So it's hard for me to get rid of books because I love books. You know, I like to have.
Yeah.
I just want to have a giant room, basically a library.
Well, you also
So it
grew up
makes
during the Great Depression.
The Great Book Depression.
So,
Yep.
I mean, it's one of those things where if you had a book,
Yeah.
you had to read the whole book
Had to read it.
just all the way
Yep.
through.
Yep.
And that was all the only
No,
book. Yeah.
no chapters would go to waste
Yeah.
during that time.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll like check out a book from the library or borrow a book or whatever,
Right.
and then I'll be sad that I don't have that book because I loved it.
Oh.
But then it's like I'm not going to read it again. So do I go and buy it so I have my own copy? That's what thrift stores are for, I guess.
If suddenly I was very well off,
Yeah.
and I had a pretty sweet like library room,
Yeah.
I would have a bookcase of like the Hugo winners.
That'd be cool.
And everything, in which the Mars trilogy would be there.
Mm-hmm.
But as somebody with limited space and a kind of distaste for clutter these days, I'm just like, get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm not rereading you.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
there we go. So I finished Blue Mars. I also finished, we'll get more into this later
Let's
with
do
some
it.
news, but I finished Volume 10 of Transmetropolitan by Warren Ellis.
Oh, yes.
So this is the last of the Transmetropolitan.
This is where
one of
they try to terraform Metropolis over the course of several.
No, this is where Spider Jerusalem is trying to impeach a terrible president. Spider Jerusalem's the main character.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the reporter, the off the grid, off the wall news reporter that we've been following for 10 volumes. So this
And
is the
you
second
said
president he's helped impeach.
He's trying to impeach a terrible president.
Yeah, a lot of news about the president gets out there and people react, and then due process happens and the president's gone.
You tell me all about it. I know.
So this is a delightful piece of fantasy.
Oh,
There
yes,
you go.
delightful.
Got a little political
You
there.
did. Everybody calm down.
This is. I've been saying this as I've.
You know what? We had a different president when we started. That's another thing.
Oh yeah.
A lot of changes.
Boy, yeah.
A lot of changes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I've been saying this since I started reading this. This is one of this book came out like 99, I think. I don't know when this ended. Maybe 2001.
Could be.
But this is so so dang applicable. It's so darn relevant for today. It's almost disgusting.
Sometimes I find that hard to read.
Mm-hmm.
I felt a little back when we were doing Dead Zone. We did a whole episode about how much we didn't like the Dead Zone. So if you want to hear that, go back, soundcloud.com/allthebooks. But there was a lot of that in the Dead Zone, too, where I was like, we're living this. I don't want to read this.
Yeah. So reading Transmetropolitan this whole time has been really, I guess there is kind of like, you get proud of the author. Because you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Did you guess it? Good job. And there is kind of this amusement as well, this like sick amusement of you're watching a car crash happen that somebody foresaw in the past now. And it's just, I don't know.
That's also a plot point in the Dead Zone, coincidentally. Episode 166,
Wow,
everybody.
yeah,
what
the
a
Dead
Dead Zone. Go back.
So again, Transmetropolitan, one of those books I've read, I like. I'm not going to, it's not like Fables where I'm like, oh, you should read Fables if you don't like superhero comics. You might like Fables.
Right.
Transmetropolitan is not one of those books,
Okay.
but I think it's interesting, and I'm glad I've read it. But yes, it's definitely one of those.
Again, this is diving into segment a little bit, but correct me if I'm wrong. Was I not getting you those via interlibrary loan when you were a student?
No.
I think I was.
No.
You don't think?
No, I only started reading Transmetropolitan when I started working here.
Oh, okay. Well,
there you go.
You breezed right through that faster than you did that Mars trilogy.
Hey.
Sorry.
But
Now you finished the Mars trilogy.
200.
J.A. Jance is not a Muppet.
That's an episode, yeah.
It is.
Do you just have a list of past episodes? You're just ready
Trying to get in.
Yep. The House Rabbits phlebitis.
Hey, let me. That is the one that I was going to mention. That's the
episode
that is
2.
Episode 2. We did a what's it called? Lonely Hearts Book Club.
Yeah.
About this book where Richard Nixon and short story novelist Ray Carver.
Yep.
It was an imaginary story about what if they were friends.
And what if they like spent this like a weekend at the same beach?
At a beach, yeah.
Yeah.
Kept talking about Nixon's phlebitis and Raymond Carver's puffiness. It's a weird book.
What was the hotel? What was the Nicholas Sparks book we read?
Knights of Rodanthe.
Yeah, it was like the Knights of Rodanthe for these two characters.
But you got Dick Nixon instead of Richard Gere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Richard Carver instead of
Raymond
Diane
Carver.
Lane?
Yeah.
Raymond Carver. Who's Richard
Diane
Carver?
Lane. Probably somebody.
I made him up.
Yeah.
That's great. I just created a life.
Episode 2.
Also, I finished Scarlet Witch Volume 1,
Ooh.
Witch's Road.
Revitalize.
That's because she
says that in the game.
She says that in the game. This is her first ongoing series, which is kind of impressive
so,
that she's
yeah.
never had. I mean, not impressive, kind of strange that she's never
Good
had
for
one.
her.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of this take on the character.
That's
She's
what I hear.
she's not a mutant anymore in these books. She's not Magneto's daughter anymore. She's just a crazy lady who ruined a bunch of people's lives, and now she's off having adventures. And maybe by herself in this kind of story, that's better because she's on the fringe. But each issue just kind of deals with her like going to find a place where magic is being a problem.
Okay.
She deals with it and then she moves on. But
Quantum Leap.
with her
The
dealing
Fugitive.
with her dealing these big like confrontations
The Pretender.
with magic, there's no heft to it. Magic is just kind of blurry and there's no like, oh, I understand what's happening or this seems chaotic. It's just magic is happening and then it's done. So there's nothing impressive about that either.
Okay. Well, if that underwhelming review got you interested in the Scarlet Witch title, we have all 3
That's
volumes.
true. There's 3 volumes. Just not
Not for you.
Just not for me.
You going to read 2 and 3?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. It's one, the art changes every issue and not in a great way. So that's what I've read.
Yeah.
That's what I've done.
Okay.
Did I watch anything? Oh, heck to the yes. I can't believe I forgot about this.
Heck to the yes.
I finished Gotham.
Oh,
5
finally.
seasons. I watched the last 3 episodes of Gotham, which I've been putting off because season 5 has been terrible. And I know what you're going to say, Nick. You're going to say, Eric, wasn't season 1 of Gotham terrible? And you might even say, and didn't the show kind of stay terrible? Season 5 was so bad. So bad that when I tweeted about how bad Gotham season 5 was, David Dvorkin, past guest of this show.
Past and future guest.
A man who's worked for NASA, he felt that he also had to say, yeah, they really let things get away from them in season 5.
You and David Dvorkin have a little conversation about how much Gotham season 5 sucked. Really made my day.
So, I mean, David Dvorkin taking time out of his day to be like, yes, this guy's right about season 5 of Gotham. But it's so depressing because I love No Man's Land, the storyline that happens in Batman comics where Gotham is made into a no man's land. It's no longer part of the United States. A big earthquake happened. All the villains have taken over. The cops have different territory. The villains have different territory. It's fun. It has the ability to show you these different takes or stranger takes on traditional tropes. And Gotham, the show, was just like, yeah, it's like that, except like it's every other episode's been, except bad, and we don't have a storyline for the Penguin or the Riddler, so they're just going to show up and be bad. However, last episode, spoiler warning for season 5 of Gotham, last episode is 10 years later after season 5.
Okay.
Bruce Wayne is back, but we don't see him throughout the episode. But villains are doing stuff. The Joker has reawoken.
Okay.
Jeremiah has woken up. He hasn't called himself the Joker. He says he's still trying to figure out who he is.
Okay.
He's gonna drop Barbara, not Barbara Keene, but Barbara, the daughter of Gordon and Barbara Keene.
So Batgirl?
Possibly. He's going to drop her into acid.
Yeah.
But then a batarang hits him in the hand and then hits him in the face. And Batman's there. And you don't see him either until they put out a spotlight without the bat symbol. Just a spotlight.
Okay.
And hat and long coat guy.
Oh, yeah.
Bullock. Jeez. Bullock is like, oh, sweet mother of mercy. And out in the distance, the camera pans. And they have a full suited Batman.
Okay. Was that cool at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was also cool in a way that you're like, well, couldn't we have just look? The show very rarely got me jazzed.
Okay.
There was stuff I liked, but there was a scene where Batman is dealing with the cops, and you only see his cape billowing, and you see smoke hit the ground, and you see the cape billow, and you see some figure go through some glass, a window, and it breaks apart. And I was smiling because I was like, hey, it's a freaking Batman show.
Was it the kid?
I don't know if it was the kid because you never see him again. They recast Selena, Catwoman. They recast her with the new actress to play the 10 years older version.
Right.
So I don't know if it is that kid doing the voice.
That would stink if it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like if he didn't get to all that and he didn't get to play Batman.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, do we have this whole series in our collection? We have some.
Season 5's not out yet on DVD, but yeah, we have the others.
We've got the rest of it, but Eric and our past guest, David Dvorkin, didn't like it. So if you want to hear David's episode, his first episode 149, Take 5 with David Dvorkin.
Gotham is a show that I never want to rewatch. I guess I'm glad I did, but I do think it has rewired my brain in some not healthy ways.
Yeah.
So
I think you've been different. There's been a dark undertone to everything you've done and said.
But again, it was at times not the worst. Okay. So anyway, I'm done talking about Gotham for the rest of my life.
Yeah, so you think?
Oh no!
Tune in next week for a Gotham spotlight. Just kidding. Though I do expect you and David to talk about this on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll throw in a question. It's like, okay, enough about the moon.
Yeah,
David Dvorkin.
Let's talk about
Gotham season 5. Yeah, what was the Riddler doing? Building a submarine?
Stupid.
Where did Nissa Al Ghul go?
Here's my bookmark.
Okay.
We got a nice bundle of things from School Library Journal that included some samples of things coming out. So
this is why you read this.
Sneak peek at what's it called? Superman of Smallville. This is by what is it? Franco and Art Baltazar. Is that
Art Baltazar and Franco?
And Franco.
Which Franco? Dave Franco?
No,
James Franco.
Just Franco, like Cher.
Oh, Cher Franco.
No, just Franco. This is set. I don't know if you're familiar with the Teen Titans. What is it? What's that series called? Tiny Titans?
Tiny Titans, yes.
Tiny Titans. Okay,
yeah.
I don't know. It's it's written in a very like kiddish style, like very very cartoony, very like picture book esque, and it just follows a teenage Superboy. But I think legally you still can't say Superboy, so whatever. Follows Superboy going through his life, basically.
Superman of Smallville.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was a fun read. It was nice to see Superman being pleasant again. It's been a minute. I could see they were pulling some things from different areas of the comics. Like there was some movie references. Both Pete and Jonathan Kent are in their Smallville styles.
Okay.
So that was kind of cool.
Fun.
So it was fine. It was a good like middle grade Superman graphic novel, which I assume we'll have in our collection. So I liked the sneak peek of that. I read Action Comics Path of Doom. This is the first volume of the Action Comics post-Rebirth era, which is a kind of a rebirth of the DC comics continuity. It's fine. I liked it. We'll see what happens. I read a couple of novels. A Woman Is No Man by Etef Rum. So this was very good. It was a difficult book to read. It was about a Palestinian teenager, really, marrying a Palestinian man whose family was already in America, so then she comes over to America sort of thinking things are going to be better. But it's all about how she's still sort of trapped and still... It's just I don't know. It was a rough book to read. I'm glad that I read it. It sort of makes you think about some things that you don't often have to think about. So it was nice to get a glimpse into that and really, I don't know, think about some of the things that people have to go through. So it was definitely worth the read. We do have it in our collection, so I would recommend you checking it out. It's also available as an ebook through Libby or Overdrive, depending on which of those you like. I read Rockin' a Hard Place by Peter David. This is for a sci-fi book club that I do with some friends, and this was not a favorite of I like Peter David. This was not a favorite of mine. The plot was very...
What is Peter David's shtick?
I don't know.
I've read so many of his stuff, and yet I couldn't tell you what exactly Peter David does that's specific to him.
I think it's character work.
That must be, yeah.
Like his,
all right, that was easy.
I think he really makes his characters... I think that's tops. It's like, let's get this character right and then build a story around that character. Right. Most of the time he's successful. I didn't think that he was in this one. I thought there were some shortcuts, that there were some plot developments where you're like, well, that is convenient for the plot, but would never happen.
Okay.
So
as a Star Trek book, though, you have to tell our listeners who's this book about.
It's about Will Riker.
And?
Deanna Troi.
There you go.
Okay.
That was it.
Right.
Just so that people know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there might be real Riker diehards out there.
Yeah,
like,
Riker.
what?
Well, I love Riker. I like Riker and Troi.
Yeah.
But this book just, I don't know, fell flat for me.
Okay.
My brother, our past guest, joined us for the Star Trek episode, All the Books Beyond.
That's right.
That's another one. We should be keeping track of how many how many old episodes I'm referencing.
Yeah.
He read it in one sitting and loved it. So
wow.
If you're on Team Steve, that's fine. That's good for you. I am currently reading The Goldfinch, which is good. I didn't really know what it was about, and it's good. So do you want to know what it's about?
Yes.
Okay. A little boy and his mom are in a museum.
Uh-oh.
And then there is a catastrophe.
Oh.
And then they're separated.
Oh, no.
And the little boy has to sort of figure out life.
Right.
And so I'm about 150 pages into about 700 pages of it. I think towards the end they start terraforming Mars, if I'm right.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, if it's the same thing that I'm thinking of. But so far, so good. Really good character stuff. Not like Peter David's, but, really good character stuff, compelling story, good characters. I like it.
I was going to say, replace the museum with Hidden Valley, and you have Land Before Time. So
The Great Valley.
Great Valley.
Hidden Valley is the kind of ranch dressing, but the Great Valley is.
I do like Hidden Valley Ranch.
It's a good ranch.
So
it's a good ranch. Nobody's going to deny that. Let's see. I'm currently reading that, and I'm reading the first volume of Flash Rebirth, also Flash Rebirth. That's available in our collection right now. We have
many of them.
We have a whole run of Flash.
That and Green Arrow.
Yeah, if you want to read some characters start to finish, Green Arrow, Flash, probably Deadpool.
Yeah,
we're doing all right on Suicide Squad as well.
That's true. Oh yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I felt like
turning into the Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Slam. This is a historic building. Please don't crash through walls.
Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't want the Kool-Aid Man through here.
No, you would not. Would not. I guess that's it for the things that I've been reading. I did some gaming, and I do want to mention some games that I finished.
Okay.
I finished a game called Celeste. If you're not familiar with Celeste, it's a 2D side-scroller, classic kind of looking game.
Right.
And the plot is to climb a mountain, and it's all a giant... I was going to say a metaphor for depression, but it's so obvious. I think it's just objectively about
the
depression.
Mountain is depression.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's the type of game where it's all about precision, so you have to like jump here, exactly right, or boom, you're dead. And so it's all about repeating it over and over again. I died 3,200 times.
Wow.
Over the course of the 11 hours it took me to play this game.
It told you at the end?
3,200 times, my man. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So if I don't think you can get it in a physical form, but if you're
it's digital only.
Yeah,
but it's everywhere. I think
if you're a gamer, check it out because it was a lot of fun.
There's a game I play called V's. It's like 6 V's in a row.
Okay.
It's also like a 2D precision-based platformer. Okay. There was one room that I tried to get through, and at the end of the game, it told you where you died the most, and it was that room, which was like 6 different pieces of just falling through spikes, and I apparently did it 220 times.
I'm sure that I had sections like that in Celeste.
It was great, because I was like, but I did that, and I didn't do anything else until, so I did that straight for 200 times.
This was a good game for me because it's nothing, it's not like scary, it's not violent or anything, so it's a good one to play with my son, so like, he would watch, and he'd be like, try that. We'd all get very invested in it, so I recommend it. Celeste, it's called. Then I started.
You made it through. That's a big deal.
Thank you.
That's a hard game. He tipped his hat to me.
I did.
Weird.
Well, I guess I was acknowledging your kindness.
Yeah. Oh.
Then I started a game that we have in our collection. Folks, did you know we have video games here in our collection?
We sure do.
How Public Library.
Heck to
We've
the
got
yes.
Switch. We've got Nintendo DS. We've got Nintendo 3DS. We've got GameCube. We got Wii. We got Xbox 360. We got Xbox One. We got PS4.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, for a second I was like, he's only going to list the Nintendo consoles.
We got Intellivision. We got classic Atari.
We don't have these. We don't have any of those.
Sega Master
System.
System.
We don't have any Sega Master System.
Oh, sorry. Nintendo Virtual Boy.
No, we certainly don't have Nintendo. Gear. No, we don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If we had Sega Game Gear games, we could also then like charge for the batteries.
That's true.
And we wouldn't be
we would clean up.
Yeah.
Do we have any 32X games?
No.
Darn it. All right. I started a game that we have that's a PS4 game that we do have in our collection.
Woo.
Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. So this is a spin-off of the Nathan Drake Uncharted series, which is
your favorite game
being made into a movie with
Tom Holland,
the horribly miscast Tom Holland,
tiny little Tom Holland.
I got to jump from ledge to ledge, Mr. Feige. Anyway, it is very similar to Uncharted 4. That's the criticism I've heard, and I was like, well, I loved Uncharted 4. So I'm sure I'll love this, but it is very similar. So I do understand that criticism. Just started that. Also watched the X-Men movie, Dark Phoenix. And I kind of liked it. It's got its problems, to be sure. We had an X-Men episode 198, where we talked all about the X-Men.
So long ago.
So you want to learn more about
Who
that?
can remember such a thing?
Go back 2 episodes and listen in.
Yeah.
I think that's it for me, bookmark-wise.
That's why I grabbed the X-Men poster, just so you could be like, I kind of liked it. Bye.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could talk about it, but you don't like it, right? I don't want to get in a fight on the air, because I did kind of like it.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I really don't. I've been trying to work through my emotions with this movie, and I just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the ending is the best I could hope for at this day and age.
Yeah.
With the whole, like, this isn't the end of the X-Men. Bye.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was a lot of good performances. I thought there were like Professor X and Beast get some really good scenes together.
Yeah, there's good scenes in there.
I liked a lot of the action. There are some things that I would change, but overall, I mean, I guess I went in with such low expectations, and like I hate X-Men Apocalypse, so it was kind
it's
of
crazy that you can hate X-Men Apocalypse, and then you're like, I kind of like this though.
Well, but X-Men, I didn't find this, like, even with its problems, I never found this boring. Where I did find Apocalypse very slow.
I've been thinking about this.
Okay.
I've been thinking about this because of how Apocalypse and this movie have basically bombed. They didn't make as much money, but Days of Future Past made tons of money.
Yeah.
And I mean, First Class didn't.
Yeah.
So First Class didn't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Days of Future Past did.
Yeah.
And then the next movies didn't.
Yeah.
And I think they went the wrong way.
Yeah.
They did Days of Future Past, and then they should have just made a sequel in the future,
right,
with the old cast.
Oh, yeah.
They should have just kept going that way. Like, okay, First Class and Days of Future Past had the prequel cast, but I think whatever if X-Men Apocalypse had Famke Janssen, Hugh Jackman, it would have done so much better.
Definitely.
And I think they went a cheaper route cast-wise, but I think they went the route that
helped. I'm sure J-Law was a little expensive.
Yeah, no, I'm sure she is. I'm sure they all, but I mean, like, I'm sure it would have been harder to be like, Halle Berry, please come back.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, maybe we'd be having a different discussion had they gone that way.
I would have been all for that.
So, anyway.
anyway as well.
We got some book news.
Let's do it.
Before we get to the New York Times bestsellers list.
Let's start with some sad book news.
They're both sad book news.
You're right.
You insensitive.
Okay. Well,
No.
noted romance author Judith Krantz had passed away at the age of 91.
Wow.
She was known for her. The New York Times obituary. The headline is Judith Krantz, whose tales of sex and shopping sold millions, dies at 91. So if you're looking for some fun stories about sex and shopping or shopping, I guess.
Yeah. Isn't that Pretty Woman?
Sex and shopping and Pretty Woman?
I've never seen Pretty Woman.
Oh, I've seen it.
Is it about sex and shopping?
It is.
Okay, well, there you go.
And charm.
Well, yes.
But Jason Alexander's there too, and he's very unlikable.
Okay.
Having him in there was a big mistake. Huge.
Okay.
So we grabbed some Judith Krantz books here. We have the whole lot. We have a big collection of these books downstairs in the stack. So we pulled them up. They're right at the front desk with a little information about the author. So if she's an old favorite and you haven't read her things in a while, come back and check them out. If you've never read her books before and you're looking for books about sexy shopping, then come on.
No.
What?
It's not about sexy shopping. It's about sex and shopping.
You know what? Why can't it be both?
It can.
Okay. What's your sad news?
Well, I guess my sad news isn't as sad as a human's life ending.
Yes.
Jeez.
I'm sorry. That was a bad. Let me intro you again.
Okay.
In another way. Eric, there's also been some publishing changes.
That's true. Thank you.
Some things that we're both interested in. So
So DC Comics has gotten rid of 3 of their age-specific lines.
This blows my mind, everybody.
So they got rid of what was the young one?
DC Inc.
DC Inc.
Which I swear they just
started.
Eric and I were go back and revisit the Seattle episode,
Yeah.
which is a while back. ALA Travel.
January,
and the whole thing was about DC Inc. and all the things they were doing.
We
got samples of the ones to read.
Yep, DC Inc. the teen one.
Yeah,
and also Vertigo was like being rebooted.
Yeah.
Vertigo Comics, and DC has now. So this was 6 months ago.
6 months.
And they've canceled it all. So all these age-specific things are being canceled, and they're being replaced with age-specific titles. So I whatever about DC Inc. and the icons, I think it is, maybe? I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
Because they're just going to be like, here's another kids one, here's another teen one. Kids aren't reading them anyway, so good luck, DC.
I don't understand how you can, like, do a whole launch for a brand and then less than 6 months be like, we're starting over again. I guess that's what they do with everything.
But what's sad for me specifically
episode
is
180, everybody. Yes.
is that they're one of those ones they're canceling includes Vertigo, the imprint Vertigo that has been DC's like out of continuity, non-superhero DC line creator kind of first concepts. So this is the line that Transmetropolitan was in.
Okay.
Sandman was in.
Why the Last Man?
Why the Last Man, Fables, Grant Morrison's The Invisibles, a whole bunch of very DMZ, a whole bunch of very popular, very important comics. And it's gone on for about 26 years, early 90s. It was a big deal, got a lot of people into comics.
I think Sandman especially.
Sandman specifically, they originally brought in Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. So it also had like this very British, somebody on Twitter put it just right, that it was a very like punk rock scene in the 90s. And it's sad.
It is.
It's
weird.
It's a sad part of a comic book legacy. History that's now, over because DC can't get its house in order.
We covered a lot of these titles in a past episode 79, Comics Without Cape. So if you haven't listened to that episode, you can go back and listen.
Yeah.
I know we talked about Why the Last Man.
We did. We talked about Fables is usually one that I do suggest to people who don't like superheroes but want to maybe read comics. I mean, even recently, American Vampire was in there.
Scott Snyder's
American Vampire. Constantine is usually in there. So yeah, it's too bad. And they're now just replacing it with DC Black Label.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure will also get replaced soon.
Yeah, it's very strange.
I like the Black Label idea. I just don't
too.
But Vertigo wasn't about like, I want to tell a grown-up Superman story. It was like, hey, I have a grown-up story.
Yeah.
Can I publish it here?
Right.
Kind of thing. So
it is. It's very confusing. I mean, it's a hard time to be a DC Comics fan. Everything they do is crazy. You mentioned Swamp Thing, and on the DC streaming app, they've been pushing Swamp Thing, and then they first cut it down by 2 episodes.
But
and then we're like, it's canceled. We're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Before it even really, I think it aired one
episode on
so
one aired, got pretty decent reviews.
Yeah.
Canceled.
But now, like, we were talking about this off mic, but, like, I was planning on watching it, but, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to resolve. And,
yeah, and, like, I don't have the DC app. I've been thinking, like, I want to read some comics if they put more on it. But now it's just kind of like, will this app even be around in, like, a year?
Not. Probably at least not in its regular form.
So, I don't know. The Vertigo one has made me sad, but...
That's right. I'd read, like, Neil Gaiman's Black Orchid was in there, and you mentioned Sandman. We talk all about Neil Gaiman in episode 51, by the way.
What do we call that? Spotlight on Neil Gaiman.
Spotlight on
that
Neil
makes
Gaiman.
sense.
Yeah, with our
Ben
musical
Lehman.
maestro guest. Ben Lehman was on that episode.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, it's an odd move all around because I think it just, like, personally, it's weird. You know, as DC Comics fans, I don't get it. But as librarians, when we were there, I was thinking, like, oh, this is such a great idea to have, like, a line specifically geared towards younger kids with characters that people like, because I feel like a decent amount of time, like, we do get people coming in looking for this, like, niche area. Like, when the Wonder Woman movie came out, I remember kids coming in wanting to check out Wonder Woman.
Right.
And it was like the superhero high kind of stuff, which is not really Wonder Woman. It's fun, but it's like 8 to 10-year-olds. Or
Brian Azzarello's blood and
crazy,
guts.
And there was just like nothing in between.
Yeah, people being born out of...
You had all these kids, boys and girls, like interested in Wonder Woman. And it was like, well, do you want to read a baby story, or do you want to read one where Wonder Woman, like, cuts off the face of a serpent and wears it like a hat? You know what I mean? Like, which one do you want?
Yeah.
So I don't...
Which is, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I remember Brian Azzarello's... who also did 100 Bullets on Vertigo. But I remember his Wonder Woman run. I remember thinking, like, this feels like a Vertigo title, which is one of the reasons I liked it. And I must have said this either during the Heroes with the Comics Without Capes or the Gaiman one. But, like, Sandman, the reason why I've even picked up Transmetropolitan, the reason why I pick up comics that don't have superheroes is because my library had Sandman.
Yeah.
And Sandman taught me that I like comic books as a medium and not just as the only way to read superheroes.
Yeah.
So, like, that was important. Ugh. New York Times bestsellers list?
Let's do it. So long, Vertigo. We do have quite a few of these titles we're mentioning in the collection, and if we don't have them, we can certainly get them for you. That's the beauty of libraries.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep forgetting we have a segment coming up.
I know. I know. We're real chatty Cathy's here at episode 200. You know what? Hold on a minute.
What?
We're real chatty Cathy's here at episode 200.
Oh. Okay, yeah, sorry.
But you know what? 200 episodes.
That's true.
We earned a little leeway, I think.
That's true. Yeah. You know what? Let's leave the episode recording.
Yeah.
But you and I just go out, go get like snacks or something.
Man on the street.
Come back. We don't edit out the silence.
No, we don't.
200 episodes. We deserve it.
Yeah.
We deserve a little. Recording to
I
ourselves.
think people would like to know we're having a nice time getting some snacks.
All right. So let's do the New York Times bestsellers list. We're gonna
quick like bunnies. Let's do it.
All right. Jeez. Maybe a different animal.
Sorry.
Quick like meerkats.
Okay.
They're pretty quick too.
Yeah, they are. Yep.
So, number 10 on the New York. A lot of new stuff here.
Okay, ready.
On Earth, we're briefly gorgeous. Little dog writes a letter to a mother who cannot read, revealing a family's history. Hardcover adult fiction, number 10.
What was that called?
On Earth, we're briefly gorgeous by Ocean Vuong.
Okay.
What do you want, man? It's been here for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I was confused last week.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess not new, but we were recording at my house. I forgot what it's like to record here.
Yeah.
Number 9, new this week, The Summer Guest by Mary Alice Monroe. A hurricane threatening the coast of Florida and South Carolina leads to a group of strangers sheltering together in a home. But there's also a crocodile. No, there isn't. But there is a movie coming out. Did you see that?
The crocodile movie?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
I think I saw the trailer when I saw X-Men.
Okay.
The girl trapped in a basement flooding in Florida with her dad. Alligator.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. My wife was kind of scared by the preview, and then she saw it was alligator. She's like, oh, that's not the... I mean, she's afraid of alligators.
Look out. Wow, that's bold.
Yeah. Number 8, Redemption by David Baldacci. The 5th book in the Memory Man series. The first man, Amos Decker, put behind bars, asks him to have his name cleared, and the Memory Man says, no, you committed a crime, and you were the first person I put away. So no, why would I...
Well, he would never forget that.
Yeah.
Because he's the Memory Man.
Number 7 is new this week. Recursion by Blake Crouch. A dark...
Crouch.
What?
Blake Crouch, who wrote Wayward Pines and other things.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Recursion by Blake Crouch. Crouch. You said Crouch.
I sure didn't say Crouch.
A dark force alters people's memories so drastically that reality itself starts to shift.
Do you know who could help them? Amos Decker, the Memory Man.
The Memory Man.
The Memory Man.
I am the Memory Man. Hey, number 6 is The Oracle by Clive Cussler and Robert Bursell. Treasure hunting couple Sam and Remy Fargo embarked on a new adventure to find a sacred ancient scroll and lift its curse. But, as whatever that sounds like, the cover is a return to form.
Yes.
Let me tell you.
Woo!
Helicopter, cliff,
I love it.
waterfalls, rock climbing.
I need you to say fire. Is there fire?
No. But, I mean, the helicopter it's still whirling.
So these people are taking their helicopter to find some scrolls?
Scrolls? You heard scrolls?
Isn't that what you said?
Scrolls.
Oh, okay.
You thought they're going to find the Marvel alien race scrolls.
That's what you said.
And Clive Cussler's The Oracle.
Well, that's what you said.
All right. Well, I meant scrolls.
Okay.
Parchment.
And they're shapeshifters.
No. Well, I mean, because they're on parchment and they're writing, they can shapeshift your mind into new ways of thinking.
You know what?
Like a library.
The power of the written word.
Number 5. New this week. Tom Clancy, Enemy Contact by Mike Madden. Jack Ryan Jr.'s latest Avenger takes him on a mission to stop an international criminal conspiracy and deal with tragic news.
Oh, sad. Downer at the end.
I'm going a little cross-eyed. My mic is right where I need to be reading, and I just keep focusing on the mic, and then I'm like, what am I reading here? So Tom Clancy book covers, they could use a redo.
Yeah, they could use a...
Do you ever wonder what the blueprint of a pistol looks like?
Tom Clancy books have almost always been like 90% font.
Yeah, that's true. I mean? All you've had to put is Tom Clancy.
Yeah.
So.
Now you're getting like weapon blueprints and things on the front of them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ah, cool. The pistol looks the same inside as it does out.
I liked the story of Hunt for Red October. It's my only real experience. And I read Tom Clancy's Hawks.
Would you read a blueprint manual of a submarine?
I think you know the answer to that.
Number 3. We also have this. Oh, wait. No. Number 4. We also have this, though.
Whoa.
And we have it on audiobook. I just shelved it. Because, I'm the head of youth services. I got a lot of responsibilities. I still find time for shelving.
Good for you.
I still do it. It's important.
I do some shelving now and then.
City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. A 89-year-old Vivian. That's what I did. I said that in my head.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Vivian Morris looks back at the direction her life took when she entered the 1940s New York theater scene. Oh, yes. I remember. We had a bunch of Olsen twin comments.
Yes, we did.
Last week.
We did. We sure did.
We won't get back into that.
I don't think so.
That's episode 199.
I saw New York Minute in the theaters.
Oh?
That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. I don't think
Number
so.
3, new this week. Mrs. Everything by Jennifer Weiner. Weiner?
I'm not sure.
Weiner.
Probably Weiner. Yeah,
Weiner.
I would think.
Sorry. The story of two sisters, Jo and Bethy Kaufman, and their life experience as the world around them changes drastically from the 1950s. So we're just
things were
talking about people's
1950s.
lives at different decades.
Yep.
So we're gonna write a book about us in libraries in the 2010s. I wasn't working in libraries.
This library was going strong in the 1950s.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. Boy. Number 2. Unsolved, James Patterson. David Ellis? Any?
Yeah, I've read some David Ellis.
A string of seemingly accidental, unrelated deaths confound FBI agent Amy Dockery. And number 1, despite all odds, Where the Crawdads Sing.
Wow.
Daily
Respect,
Owens.
you know? At this point, I just got to lean in.
Game respects game.
Yeah. Hey, man, thanks for saying that. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
I think it's segment time.
Have you been watching? No, you don't have HBO. Season
No,
2 of Big Little Lies. I say that because
No,
with the Spoons
I
Book
haven't.
Club.
I haven't.
Okay.
I did start the final season of Veep.
Oh,
Just
fun.
watched the first episode.
And?
Tried to watch the second over lunch, but my network connection was pretty shoddy. Not here, somewhere else.
Yeah.
We don't have a bad internet connection.
No.
I just want to be
that's
clear.
pretty good,
We
yeah.
have a good one.
I mean, we're streaming.
We are.
Streaming live.
Do we have any music for when we delve into our own past to discuss for a theme?
Do you want me to bring out the
Probably need to.
all the ages?
What I want you to bring out is Brando Sando and the Elton and the time traveling book is what I need.
Oh, you want the old characters?
Are they here? Can you bring
Boy,
them
I
out?
can't-
Brando? No, he couldn't make it. I think actually he's still traveling into the future with Smartacus.
I've
Don't you
lost
think?
track. Yeah, Smartacus and
That's how we left them in
traveling.
episode
Yeah.
100.
Rooster.
Smartacus was, yep.
Rooster's the dog.
No, Rooster's the paralegal.
Paralegal
you need to
Rooster
go back and listen
is
to episode 100 again, where you and I went on a time traveling adventure.
Right. Clint McGavin
is
my grandfather.
Clint McGavin. Yes, Clint McGavin, we discovered through time travel, is your paternal grandfather, and he stayed in the past with your grandmother. Rooster went back to the 1800s.
Right.
Brando Sando, Elton, or Phillips with the time-traveling book went to the future with Smartacus, and we haven't seen them since.
That's true.
So
we've been stuck with Roger, our senior intern.
Roger is here, but Smartacus is
You know what? Let's just bring them all out.
But anyway, this week we decided that we would talk a little bit about libraries and specifically how we got started. Woo! How we got started and how we got here to where we are. Yeah. So let's do it.
All right.
How would you like to start?
It was a warm August night. August 7th.
Go on. Really?
1986.
Really?
I came screaming into the world.
Yep.
It wouldn't be the first time I screamed at a doctor.
Really?
Oh, no, wait. It would be the first time. Wouldn't be the last time.
Wouldn't be the last time.
That's why I can't just freestyle this stuff.
Yeah.
On paper, that thing would have been a Delia Owens hit.
I understand. Would you like me to tell you how I first started at a library?
It was like 11:58.
It's an embarrassing story. I don't really like to tell.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like telling it?
No, it's a little.
Oh boy, a story about Nick. He doesn't like telling.
It is a little embarrassing.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. So
you wet your pants.
The year was 2001.
Ooh.
I was fresh out of high school, looking for a job. I went down to the public library.
What month is this? That you first? So we talking like August?
No, this was more like winter because I did dinner theater at the time, and so we would do like 8 shows a week, and that was like enough for rent and things. And then my show was ending, and so I needed a regular old job, and so I went to the public library because I'd always liked it. I applied for a job.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I applied for a job. And was really anxious to hear back, because like my show was ending, and I was like living on my own. I needed, and so.
Did you go in applying for the job being like, God, I hope I get it?
No.
How many pages does he need?
No, I was very comfortable, and I felt fine about it. I was a teenager. I wore a black V-neck sweater, if that helps.
What year was this? 2001?
2001.
That tracks.
Yeah. So I interviewed for this job, and they were like, okay, well, we'll let you know. And I felt good about it, but like I hadn't worked in libraries before. And
Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was the Charles F. Willard Library in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Willard?
Yeah.
We'll
I know.
Follow you.
A name that would come back. So I had a good interview, and I thought, okay, this will be good. And I didn't have a ton of like prior work experience because I'd worked for my grandpa, and he had a meat shop, and I was an actor in dinner theater.
Now you're a vegetarian.
Yeah.
What a journey. I want to hear that story.
Yeah, really. So was he actually by the end.
What?
I know. So I had put down these references, which were weird, and later I found out that she did call the guy who produced my theater stuff, and he was like, you got to hire him and hire him now, which was pretty nice of him. So I was really anxious to hear about this job, and she was going to call me back. So I got a call like maybe a week later. This was like December. I was at a Christmas concert, and she was like, and it was right before a long weekend where the library was going to be closed like 3 or 4 days. Okay. So I'm at this choir concert, and she's like, well, I'm working the night shift tonight. Sharon Cobes was her name.
Okay.
She was the supervisor who was hiring. She was like, so I'll be here till 9 o'clock. So if you can give me a call back, then we can talk about this. And so I did not get that because it was a different time, so no texting or anything like that. So I got the message, and it was like 8:55 or something like that. And so I called, and the library didn't go through, and so we were just driving home. And I was like, oh, we could just stop at the library, right? So there's the library. I get out, and it's closed. And I'm like, oh, darn. But then there's the parking lot, right? And like she was very tall. I recognized her. And I was like, oh, there she is. I'll just go talk to her because this was not a great neighborhood.
This is at night.
This was at night. And me, just like a man, just like stalking her in a parking lot, right?
Yep.
So I get kind of like halfway to her, and I like called her name and sort of waved, and she didn't hear me. And so I'm going a little farther. Then the security guard at the library is like, ma'am, do you know there's someone behind you? And there was nothing I could do. I'm just like standing there awkwardly, and I'm just like, I was wearing like a suit because I was at some like, so I'm just standing there. I was like, oh, hi. And she was like, oh, hi. You got the job. And they made fun of me about that for years.
Yeah.
That I got the job by stalking her in a parking lot.
Oh, my word.
It was really embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because I just, like, it didn't occur to me that this was a crazy thing to do. I just was like, it sort of happened in steps.
It never does, I guess.
I was like at the library. It was closed. And then I saw her. And then I was like, oh, well. I didn't think about the fact that it was like pitch black in a bad neighborhood. And I was just stalking her.
Feels like you're pitching an episode of Gotham to me.
I know. So this was the kind of thing where like after I started, people were like, so did you really like follow her in a parking lot? And I was like, no, that's what happened.
I mean, yes, but I had a car.
Yeah.
I had a getaway car.
Yeah, but see, I didn't park in that same lot. I parked in like the public lot. So I was just like walking through a dark parking lot.
Yeah, you should have driven in so fast that you could hear the tires screeching through the parking lot.
It was because it was like a long holiday weekend and I wanted to know, So I was overzealous, and it was very embarrassing and did haunt me. It came up at least every year. It was like, remember that time.
Right.
So that was my first job. I worked in that library for about 4 years.
Wow.
Pretty much full time when I wasn't in class, because that was like all through college.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I transferred out to Houghton, I still worked there summers and Christmas break, and pretty much every long break, they would put me right back on the schedule.
Right.
That was a pretty big public library.
Okay.
And it was one that had like an old classic building, and they sort of put on like a 1970s edition, which was the main library. Mm-hmm. And so that's where sort of the main action was. And it was a big, I was just a student worker. You could you'd only have that job if you were a student. And so that's why I had it all throughout college. But I mostly just worked the front desk. I didn't do a lot of shelving or anything like that, but we had huge troughs of book returns. I mean, it was a giant like bathtub full of book returns multiple times a day. So I would just sit back there, like scanning books. And that's how I found some of my favorites, like Patrick Dennis and Jack Finney. Like I found those authors just by like doing this giant book return. Yeah. So
meet cutes.
Yeah, with those authors. But I loved that job. Like I had a great experience doing that. I helped a lot with they would do some author visits, and they would do a lot of like promotion for the paper. And so there's like when I left, they gave me, I think it was a disc at the time, a CD with like probably like 40 or 50 pictures of like me posing with like Willard Library things for for the local papers, because we were just in them all the time.
Right.
It was a cool job. I really liked it. And it set me up well, because I didn't really take that job thinking like from now on, like I'm going to be a librarian. I'm going to work in libraries forever. I just liked it and needed a job. And so like it worked out. But then, I don't know, I really liked working with the people. I liked helping with the events and things. And it just like the environment was good. So that was me. That was my first thing.
That was your first job.
Yeah, I know a little about your first library job, but
so ahead. I was a fugitive on the run.
Okay, yeah,
wanted poster everywhere, and I just ran into the building screaming.
Yeah.
No, I was I was at college, and I was doing more janitor work. Yeah. As my life has been, janitor and pizza work, and there was an opening at the library at college. Yeah. I applied. Yeah. And I got it. Yeah. But I got it because this year was ending, so I got to work like a month, and then that was it. And then the summer came, and I got to work another year. Right. So too bad, because I was at that college for 3 years, so it would have been nice to have done that for 3 years. Yeah. Pretty sweet. Yeah. Read a lot there. I mean, it's a college job, so basically shelving, shifting, which is just moving books from one place to another. That was a lot, but I got to listen to my my iPod during all that. That's true. So, but that was true. No, I still was.
So when did you? So this will jump a little bit ahead in my timeline. But I was the circulation supervisor of that library. The Willard J. Houghton Library, Houghton College, and I hired you as a student. Woo! And you're right. You came in like in a May term, and you worked just like the last month with hardly anybody there, and then came back in the fall. But the main project, you said shifting, and that reminded me. That library was 2 floors. And the top floor was just totally jam-packed, and especially in an academic library, like weeding's a lot more difficult, and like it's not a cooperative system like ours, so it's like you're really kind of limited to what we have on the premises and what's available through interlibrary loan, which could take weeks. Right. And so they were very reluctant to weed there, a little too reluctant if you ask me, because there's a lot of crap on those shelves. Wow. But there was this project where we could not get another book in there. So one of Eric's like long-term projects was to shift all the books up to the top shelves. Thousands and thousands of books. I did it. And your great upper body strength because of that. Yeah. That was also the beginning of my desire to make sure all the best movies are on display. Yes. Because they had a pretty good, decent DVD collection at this college, and kids would come in and check DVDs out. So I would just put whatever ones I thought were cool on the shelves, and they'd go. And that was when I was like, this is satisfying. This is satisfying to set up a display that then checks out. So in my first job, because I didn't really work I worked like at the front desk, and I worked behind the scenes. I don't think I ever did a display there or ever really worked on the floor at all. Like I was really just like working with customers or patrons, as we'd say, and being backstage. What's your least favorite part? Oh, man. What's your least favorite part of working at a college library? At a college library? Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the philosophy is a little different, you know? I mean, certainly there are some students who come in and like it or enjoying it. But I think 90% of the time in a college library, the person is there because they have to be there. They have no other choice.
Right.
They have to.
Yeah.
And so when it's a public library, you don't have to go in a public library.
That's true.
You definitely should.
You get to.
But it's a choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think the kind of people that you're working with is very different. And it's a lot more like research based, less like, let's have fun. Let's, how can we like impact your life? And it was more like, how can we get you the required 5 to 6 resources for the paper that you're writing that you don't want to write? So it's just kind of a different vibe.
Yeah.
But you?
Ex-girlfriends coming in and making out with their new boyfriends.
Oh.
So
yeah.
Only happened to me once.
So we both started as student library workers in college.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
The jobs were very different. Occasionally we'd have some crazy situations. I was almost jumped once.
Oh, wow. Fun.
My car was broken, and I was like dragging all of my stuff across the street, and these guys came up, and it was a whole ordeal. But I got away.
Okay.
In the end.
Yeah.
But one time we had we had drop boxes all around town. And one time somebody took a carton of eggs and just tossed it in a drop box. And one time somebody took a giant, like big gulp soda, totally full, just tossed it in a book drop.
That's a monster.
So then I had to deal with that
monster thing,
when I came there. So yeah, that was quite an ordeal.
All right.
One time, a kid got fired. One of the other student workers got fired because he tried to ride the book return cart down the walkway and slammed into a parked car.
Poor kid.
All right, so let's see. So that's me at the Willard Library. So I was there 2001 to about 2005. Yeah. And then right when I graduated Houghton, I got a job at the Herrick Memorial Library in Alfred. And there I was doing
Hinkle.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been saying Hinkle.
You worked at Hinkle.
Oh.
Well, that's spoiler
These are
alert.
different
Spoiler
libraries.
alert.
Well, it came after Houghton.
I worked at Herrick Memorial Library, which is the Alfred University Library. I was there for almost 2 years.
That's the difference. I was at Alfred State.
Yes.
State.
And what was funny about that job
State
was
rules.
when I got there, they were getting ready to do a big renovation.
Okay.
So I was in the Herrick Memorial Library building for, I don't know, maybe 2 of those months.
Right.
And then after that, we moved off-site. Like our offices moved off-site, and the new books moved with us. Everything else stayed in the top floor of the library. And then the other floor, everything got taken to an off-site storage facility.
Ooh.
So that job, I supervised student workers. I did a lot of cataloging. And then when we were in this moving phase, I would go to the offsite storage facility and get book requests. So students would place a request. I would go and find them. It was a converted chicken coop in Alfred.
Okay.
Where all the books were. So we had a van. We'd drive over there. I'd get the books and bring them back, check them in. So it was kind of creepy because I was all by myself in this giant chicken coop. And one time I was there, and it's a full library.
Even if they're farm raised, a bunch of books in a chicken coop are still dangerous.
And cold.
Yeah.
It was cold
good.
Also. So I would just be over there for a long time, pulling these holds, doing some shelving and stuff. One time I was doing this and I'm like, I'm just not feeling well. I'm not feeling well at all. And I start getting really woozy and I'm stumbling around and I get myself out and I get to the van and I call and I'm like, something is wrong with me. I don't know what it is. And so they go out there and they check, and the air had become combustible because the propane for the heater had been leaking in that closed room, and you can kind of smell it. It smells like eggs or something. They put a smell.
Yeah.
So then
smells like flammable air.
Sent me to the ER. I had to get an EKG and all this kind of stuff, and I was very sick. I didn't do any permanent damage, but it was if I hadn't noticed.
They told you.
I know. If I hadn't noticed, or if I would have passed out or something. So it was
straight up died in a chicken coop library.
Yeah. We refer to it as the club. We'd be like, all right, I'm going to the club to get my books.
Wow.
So that was a wild time.
I don't have any of these near-death stories. So
yeah,
I mean, I worked at Alfred State
Yeah.
after the librry here, just as a instructional support assistant or associate.
All right, so you were at Houghton for almost 2 years.
But then I graduated college.
Right.
You can't be a student worker if you're not a student.
No, I had the same problem.
I had to go, but it was a temporary job. The person who was there had to leave, and so I had to take over. Though I believe that's our own children's librarian,
That's right.
Kate Miller.
What a weird coincidence.
I think she was having a child.
Yeah.
And so I took her job.
And you covered for Kate.
Yoink.
And then years later, here we are. That's so crazy.
So that was nice. I mean, it was weird because I had just graduated college and now I was working with college students.
Yeah.
And my job included being like responsible for a college student worker.
Right.
Though I was always older than most college students
true.
because I got in there late. So I guess I was 25 doing this, but I did a lot of reading at that job because it was a night job, and students don't really have too many questions because they know how to use the internet.
So were you doing like circulation stuff, check in, check out? Or
No, I was doing reference stuff,
which
is rough sometimes because they're like, I need to find stuff about this. I'm like, okay, I had to use systems I weren't familiar with, but I read Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heinlein. So that was a long book.
And Dave Hagstrom was the director when you were there, right? Dave Hagstrom was retired now, but was the director of Hinkle for a very long time. Coincidentally, he was my carpool buddy when I worked at the Alfred University Library.
What a small world.
Strange.
If it weren't for Michigan.
It is kind of strange. I mean, we both started as student workers, then both went to an Alfred, hung out with Dave Hagstrom for a while. Yeah. Okay, so you were there how long?
Not long. That was just a seasonal
thing. It was
thing.
at least like a full summer or something, right?
Yeah, I think it went until like June.
And I've never been in that library. What was it like?
It was just a college library. It was kind of small.
Like
it was nice.
Did it have like popular fiction and stuff, or was it just
had some?
Okay.
I mean, it was it was a state school library, so most of the people were in there just for the computers.
Specific. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it was I think the fiction that was in there was for classes. Like they had a book on writing science fiction, so they had science fiction books. They had a class on whatever. They had books on that. So yeah, that's the movies.
All right. Well, I was at, let's see, so where am I? So I was at Alfred University from about 2006 to 2008. I got married while I worked there. And then about almost 2 years in, I got a position as the head of circulation at the Houghton College Library, the Willard J. Houghton Library.
That's where we met.
That's right. So I went over there. So it was kind of, I felt bad leaving because I wasn't at Alfred for not quite 2 years.
Yeah.
But it was just a better all around job and everything. So I really enjoyed that. And it was, so that was like 2 back-to-back academic libraries.
Yeah.
And it was never quite like, I think Herrick's a lot more of the public library vibe. I mean, they do a lot of like programming and a lot of things to like engage with students and have like, to really like do like an outreach type thing. So that was a little bit more like I did a lot of displays there. All the audiobooks were interfiled. So while I was there, I pulled all the audiobooks out and we created an audiobook collection. I made covers for all of the audiobooks. And that's where I learned.
You drew the covers?
No, I used
this is what I think this book would be about.
Computer to smart mouth. But so I did that, and then that's where I learned cataloging, copy cataloging.
Oh.
It was half circulation, half cataloging.
This is a twist where we're also going to learn it's where he learned to read for the first time.
So let's see. Then I went to the Houghton College Library, and I was there for 6 years. So that's like. I'm getting close now, but that's the longest that I was there.
Yeah.
So my job didn't change a whole lot while I was there. I did circulation. I really enjoyed working with the student workers. We had sort of a constant cycle of students coming in and out. I usually had 10 or 12. So I worked with a lot of great students. A lot of them went on, including yourself, went on to do library jobs as well. So a lot of that group went on to do other library jobs. But I liked working with the faculty. I liked working with the students. I tried to do a lot of the displays there. They didn't always like it. And then later on, I took over interlibrary loan, which I did really enjoy interlibrary loan. I kind of missed that here, like going out and searching for different items.
Interlibrary loan at Houghton College at that library, that got me back into comics in a big way.
You can thank me for how much Eric talks about comic books now.
I had stopped reading comic books because of college, and I just didn't have money, and there was no I didn't have Marvel Unlimited or anything back then. But I found out interlibrary loan could just get me anything. And I got to tell you, I got everything.
Yes, you did. Part of I would go through and file those requests, and it got to a point where I was like, how do I put these in different places so we don't have a giant graphic novel file? I was like, this one seems historical.
Oh yeah.
But I read it all. But I think my favorite part of that job was working with the students. I really liked that vibe of having different kids come in and sort of like learn about libraries. And so I was there for about 6 years. So while I was there, I done left. You left. You moved to Florida.
I sure did.
And what'd you do there?
Oh, I enjoyed the sunshine. I got into board gaming.
Yeah, you did.
I adopted my dog Scooter.
Oh, hi Scooter.
But I also got a job at the South Mandarin Public Library in Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh.
So I was looking for a job. My wife had already gotten one because whatever. Everybody wants to hire a teacher. Nobody wants to hire a scrawny kid fresh out of college.
Yeah.
Just looking, saying he could do the best video slideshow you've ever seen?
Yeah.
I could.
I bet you could.
But I was in the library, and I was always so depressed because I was in the wrong county, so I couldn't get a library card at this library.
Even though you worked there?
No, I wasn't working there yet. I couldn't get a library card, so I was so sad. And then I heard they were hiring, so I turned in an application. I got a call like the next couple days, and got the job. And
they called me for a reference.
That's fun. And so then I was able to check books out there too, which was pretty sweet. That was fun. That was very busy. Very, very busy. I was actually also on loan to the other Mandarin library on Saturdays. They couldn't hire me full time. They didn't have the position, but they wanted to, they said, which was a very nice thing to hear.
Nice. Yeah.
So, yeah. And that was it. I was just a clerk there, but I definitely took some responsibilities that weren't mine to take.
I've been known to do that.
They had their DVD section as well, and it was just a flat bookcase, but there were little slots there that you could put a plastic shelf on, a couple. So I asked, like, do we have any plastic shelves? Maybe put up a display just for this thing because of the Oscars.
Right, yeah.
And I got them to do that. Yeah. And then once those shelves were up, I was just putting up new movies all the time. And it was rough because nobody really got it. Like, the other workers were like, oh, yeah, here's All the President's Men. I'm like, no. Put up whatever's new. Because it was a rotating collection. So we had multiple copies of new stuff. Yeah. And I made those DVDs fly.
You know what? I had a similar experience at my first library, Willard Library, opened a branch while I was there. It was smaller, like in the suburbs.
Right.
And so I sort of split my time between both libraries. And the branch was smaller and more like a bookstore. But it was the same kind of thing. There were places around the pillars where you could put DVDs. So I would put DVDs up there with like themes or different things going on. And then the other people would come in and just like put some random thing up there. And I'm like, oh, great. Yeah. We have 3 James Bond movies and like Urkel Saves Christmas. Thank you.
I tried. There were something I tried. They had their comic books and they were in like the newspaper shelves. You know, the ones,
old, like,
the metal ones that you put up the newest one and then you lift up and behind it. That's where they kept the adult graphic novels. Yeah. And it drove me crazy. And I was like, move them over to I even suggested, I'm like, if you move them to the sci-fi section here, where we keep the nonfiction audiobooks nobody can find, people in the sci-fi section will see these and it will create, cross. And
that kind of stuff really makes a huge difference.
Well, they did not suggest it. They didn't like my suggestion. They were like, well, then they'd be on the spines only and you wouldn't be able to see them. And
I hope they're listening. I hope they're listening and they recognize
that's not a good impression of them at all. I was just a character I created. I really like that character.
Okay.
But anyway, that was it.
All right. Well, let's see. So where's that? So I was at Houghton.
I tried to start a Mystery Science Theater Club there.
That's cool.
It was no go.
Oh.
They didn't like it because we didn't have the legal rights.
Oh.
But I said,
that's true.
We have the right to legally show them.
Oh. Okay.
We didn't, I guess.
So I was at Houghton for 6. So Willard for about 4 years, Alfred for about 2, Houghton for 6, and then a job opened up here in Wellsville, the David A. Howe Public Library. It was in between semesters, so I'd like finished the fall semester, was gearing up for the spring semester when this job opened. And at the time, it was circulation supervisor. So basically running the circulation desk, similar to what I was doing at Houghton. Yeah. But
they called me for a reference. Yeah. I said, if you hire that guy, you're hiring a guy to drive that ship right into the iceberg. No pretense.
Really?
He's not gonna be like, oh, iceberg ahead. He's just gonna be like,
drive right into it. You said all that.
Yeah.
Wow.
They hired you anyways.
I guess. Yeah. I must have really. I dressed to impress. I wasn't wearing a black turtleneck. Not turtleneck. V-neck.
You think I was called. Yeah. I said that thing about the iceberg, and they're like, but he's wearing a tie.
Yeah, but look at that sharp tie, I think is what they said. Yeah, I remember.
Nobody's ever called me for a Nick reference.
I remember so I came in for my interview, and I hadn't worked in a public library for, almost 8 years.
Since Michigan.
Yeah, and so, and that doesn't always translate. It doesn't always, they are very different sorts of jobs, So I was sort of nervous that maybe they'd be like, oh, he only works in academic libraries. So I met with, it was 2 people, a director and one other person, and had this interview. And I felt good about it. I went in sort of thinking like, yeah, this would be nice to get back to a public library. I walked out and my wife was in the car and I got in the car and was like, I am going to be so sad if I don't get this job because I loved that place.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
it really does. It sometimes gets annoying.
I wasn't.
Sometimes you want to come upstairs and be like, Nick, I have a complaint about this place. He's like, no, I love it.
But seriously, I went in and I was like, I'm fine where I am. It's okay. This might be interesting. Let's check it out. I was very chill about it because of that.
You get tired of the smell of carpet cleaner. when you're at like a college library.
That's true. Yes. But I walked out and it was like the first thing I thought was like, oh, I better get this job. I better get this job. And I did.
Yeah.
So it was a quick turnaround. So I kind of like had to, a transition in between semesters is always kind of tricky. So I stayed at Houghton for as long as I could and got the desk schedule and like everything ready, tried to make it as easy of a transition as I could. And I was really sad to, I had some students that I've been working with since they were freshmen. And this was like their last semester of their senior year. Shout out to Amy Kuhn, past guest. But I felt bad, I really didn't want to leave like at that point. But
judging a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Amy Kuhn.
Yeah. Also, Ben Murphy, one of our regular listeners, was also in his senior last semester.
Ben Lehman, music maestro.
Yeah, Ben Lehman. Yep. Anyway.
My wife, Kendra, the Invisible
Kendra,
Woman.
You're right. So I was sad to go, but then it was really cool to be starting here. I was really excited. And so I started doing, I was hired to do, circulation desk and adult programming.
Yeah.
So we started right away looking into craft classes, and we started the book club right away. The first couple of months, we had our first book club meeting, which was Andromeda Strain, Michael Crichton's Andromeda Strain, that we did.
Yeah. Ender's Game.
You weren't there.
Well, I know.
And I said Andromeda
I was
Strain.
in Jacksonville soaking up the sun.
I know you were. So I did that for, about 2 years.
Shout out to walking Scooter on the beach.
Yeah.
Shout out, Scooter. Daddy loves you.
And then I took over a little bit more programming as some retirements happened. And then when my predecessor, Michelle Lavoie, took a job in the Olean Public Library, where she still is, shout out to Michelle. She was in our Joyce Carol Oates episode very early on.
Number 6. They were all Joyce Carol Oates episodes for a while.
You can check out our Joyce Carol Oates Spotlight with Michelle. Michelle, I've got to say, was very supportive of the podcast from day one.
Yeah.
I remember going to her office being like, I want to start a podcast. And she was like, okay, that sounds cool. Let's do it. And I was expecting there to be a little bit more of like, oh, I don't know about that. But no, she was right with it. And so was the board. So I got to give them a lot of credit for that. So, but when Michelle took that job, I was made interim. And then I was sort of like, okay, so like I'll do this. And I wasn't really set on whether or not I was going to apply for the director job. And
this was all while we were recording. This was all happening behind the scenes during some episodes.
It was. And so like it was sudden. I didn't expect it at all.
The episodes where we're up in the attic?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think so. So like it was very sudden. I didn't expect it at all. I was surprised when Michelle told me that. And, the trustees asked me to be interim. And so I did that for, 3 or 4 months. And it took a little time and kind of got the hang of it and was like, I do like this. I think I do want to do it. So I applied and I honestly didn't think that I would get it. Truthfully, I really didn't. I thought, they want to bring in somebody from the outside. They want to bring in somebody new, So I was
somebody young.
It was
somebody
kind of
hip.
Yeah, but it was a nerve-wracking several months for me, because there's just a lot going on. It was summer reading program.
You had a baby.
Like my regular stuff. I had a baby and doing like interim stuff. So it was a tense time. But I had my interview and I felt good about it. And it was just one of those things that I really could not predict the way that it was going to go. And then I got the job and was very excited. And now I've been the director longer than I was not the director. So I've been the director. Yeah. Actually, I think it was right about now. It was like June 3 years ago that I took over as interim. Yeah. So just about 3 years. And now here I am.
You were worried, but then Alexander McCall Smith sat down and said, Nick, I think you need to relax.
Yeah, it was Alexander McCall Smith. So then about 1 year into my time here, there was when there was some retirements and we were trying to decide how best to handle everything, we decided that we wanted to have a teen librarian as well as a children's librarian, and how could we make that work and all that. And so we opened that position, and we were kind of, we put the applications out and all that, and we were like, and I sent the link to you, really not thinking that you were going to be interested in the slightest. Like you'd been in Florida, like we hadn't seen each other in like years.
Yeah. It's a sweet year and a half in the sun.
So you're down there, you're settled, you got your library job, and
I got a pizza place
Michelle,
I like to go
Michelle
to.
Was like,
Dolce's.
Do you know anybody? Like, have you worked with anybody that you think might, be interested? And of course we set it out and we got quite a few applications for it. We did several interviews, and then
But
you
then
surprised
from
me.
the sun-kissed lands of Florida.
I was very surprised that like you wanted to do it, and like you came and interviewed. And all right,
look, I liked my library job in Florida, but I could not, for the life of me, find a full-time job in Jacksonville, Florida.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't, especially in libraries. Though, right at the same time that this opened up, I also passed like some exam that I had to take down there so that I could be hired for full-time positions down there. And so I was offered a job as a full-time like teen coordinator down in Jacksonville, Florida at the main library, which is a pretty busy place. and also this place. But I was like, let's move up. Let's move up. My wife wasn't happy with her job. I wasn't totally happy with.
That's so stressful, though.
Everything.
I mean, to have like two choices like that is really
Yeah. I had to fly up for the interview. It was a stressful time because we had to like look for a house online. Right. We had to like find a renter online.
So what
and everything.
was it like? I mean, why did you choose this job over the Florida one?
Look, it was. I mean, well, we knew people here. Yeah. For one.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick. Shout out to Nick.
Yeah. But I mean, still picking everything up and totally moving. But I guess at the time, like we had
there were reasons to leave Florida.
We had a pretty successful teen photo show that was done every year. We had a teen fashion show. So it's not like we didn't have any teen program. We certainly did, but there wasn't like a very specific like teen focus.
Right.
And so we knew that whoever coming into that position would really, we'd need to rely on them to really kind of invent a program, building on what had been done in the past, certainly, but taking something and running with it. So, I mean, that would be appealing to me. I don't know, like, did that? Yeah, no,
there were a lot of, like, creating collections and, like, there wasn't even a comic book graphic novel collection. I was like, I can create it and curate a comic book collection? Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah. That's one of our most popular collections.
Moved closer to family and friends, and just the idea of having a little bit more freedom to be creative at the job. So, which was nice because, as I said, like I wanted to do stuff even as a part-time clerk that I just couldn't do. So, I took the job,
and here we are,
and so it's been here ever since.
You're coming on 4 years.
2015.
Right? Yeah, so I guess you've hit 4 years.
Yeah.
So
didn't have a lot of money to go to the movies, but still went to Jurassic World twice, if that's applicable.
Yeah.
And then basically we found out that sometimes you're a little bit better at certain parts of the job than people expect. And now a part-time teen position is a little too small. Yeah. It's got to be a full-time teen position.
That's true. Yeah. A lot of changes.
I'm not gonna my own horn.
Right. Sure.
But where there were no teens, we suddenly had many teens.
Well, it was a serious problem at the time because back when you started like Anime Night, Teen Night and stuff, we were originally doing it in the Monday Club room, and it was just like you cannot get any more people in there.
Yes.
Like it is impossible to get another person in there without the fire marshal coming.
At one point, we did have like, I think the highest we had for Anime Night was like 33 people, which is not the norm.
Yeah.
Normally, we settled somewhere between 15 to 20, which was still too many teens to have in a room with no windows. Oh, no windows that opened.
I think the thing is, like especially with the children's job, it's so much of it is like outreach and working with the community and working with the schools and stuff. You really need time to do that.
So now I'm head of youth services.
Now you are. Yeah. It's been, I guess, so this will be I started 2001, so this will be 18 years. Yeah. 18 years that I worked at the library.
Oh.
10 for you?
About 8 years for me. 2011.
2011. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Still.
Yeah,
not
I know.
Too shabby.
I know.
I mean, I've got 10 years experience on you, but it's not a competition.
That's true.
Because
you're winning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
there you are.
Was this ever something that you considered?
No, but every now and then when I think back about it, it is kind of like, I guess it makes sense because of how much of my childhood I spent in libraries and how much of my teens, like I just always was going to the library for books, comics, magazines, movies, just always in the library, just always like on the floor with a bunch of books by my side, book off the shelf in my lap, just reading there. So, I'm sure to my grandmother it made a lot of sense with like the, almost like every other day phone call, like, hey, can you take me to the library? So
I guess I was the same way. It never really was. I was like, oh, I want to go work at the library. It was not something that I really thought about, but I always loved reading. I always loved spending time in bookstores and comic book stores. I mean, it was always sort of my default was to do that. And so like it made sense on that level. And it clicked with me instantly. Like I liked it right away. And I feel like each job I've had, I thought like, oh, I could do this forever, know?
Yeah.
And it's been an interesting transition. And because of the different like jobs, I feel like now I've done pretty much every library job. Like I've done ordering, I've done interlibrary loan, I've done cataloging, I've done front desk, I've done, reserves for college.
You've done chicken coop wrangling.
Chicken coop, yeah. So like it's kind of works out well where I've got to focus on the things that I like the best, but I've also had the opportunity to work in every area, which I think is not something that I planned. It's just the way that it all worked out, but is really useful to me now. In my position now, it's really helpful to have had experiences in all those different areas.
In college.
And I love it, as you said.
My 5 years of college.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. 5 years of college, I did a lot of like side job internships things that had me working with teenagers, and I'd be like, why do I have to work with teenagers? I don't want to do this anymore. And then now I'm like, oh, I guess that was just training.
Well, you've always been good at it.
It was just one of those, like, when you look back on it, it's like, oh, I was always in libraries and I worked a lot with teens, even though I didn't. I had no plan to, and so here we are.
In the stars.
Aw. Is there a song about that? City of Stars.
Yeah, that counts.
Okay.
That counts. Well,
Million Dreams.
Those are our library stories. We would love to hear from our listeners.
Yeah.
So if you want to tell us how you first got into libraries, whether you work in a library or just an avid user, you can find us at soundcloud.com/allthebooks.
Did I accidentally take your job in Jacksonville?
Maybe.
Or did you take mine?
Maybe. It's hard to say.
Which part of your career did you intersect with Nick, like a falling star?
Right. Exactly.
So.
You can find us on Twitter at All the Book Show. You can email us at wellsville@stls.org. Find us on Facebook at David A. Howe Public Library. And remember, rate and share on iTunes.
Yeah, rate, share, and subscribe on iTunes. We're on everything. We're on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, just
Stitcher. Friendster.
Yep. I don't think we're on Friendster.
MySpace.
No, we're not on MySpace.
Oh, okay.
But please, yes, share and subscribe. We could definitely use some ratings.
Always helpful. Thanks if you're tuning in on the Angelica radio
Nick
station
just
Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock. You can tune in there. And it's been a fun ride. 200 episodes.
See you at episode 400. Because...
Oh, okay. I thought you were doing a cool sign off, but no.
Oh no, you're the sign offer.
Thank you.
200 episodes.
You're right. I thought maybe this was a new normal. We are in the midst of the summer reading program, folks. So
oh my gosh,
lots of cool movies showing down in the auditorium. Robot and Frank is coming up. Well, it's a great one with Frank Langella. Check that out. That's our senior matinee. Book clubs are just wrapping up. Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. Then we're gonna read. Where is it?
The Loneliest Girl in the Universe.
This is our YA for Adult book club.
Sounds like I got nobody. Wow. I was gonna try to pick somebody, but I was like, maybe this would be too mean.
Can we admit that the YA for Adult book club, we never get a big turnout for that?
Yeah, I guess that's a sausage gets made kind of situation.
But it baffles me because we have so many adult fans of YA.
If you're an adult and you're in the area and you read young adult books,
join us.
It's your responsibility.
It's cool. I think sometimes there's like a stigma attached to like, oh, that's a teen book.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's cool. I read YA books. I read junior level books, graphic novels, anything. Anything that interests you.
Nick still reads the newspaper.
You should read it and be happy. There's no problem at all.
So happier than The Loneliest Girl in the Universe.
That's right. Come and join us for a book club. It's supposed to be a great book. We've got many copies. We'd love to have you. Yeah. That's the end of the month.
We're showing.
You can check out.
Oh, sorry. I think I'll cut that out. I think I burped into the mic.
I think you did.
Sorry, everybody. They won't know because I cut it out. We're showing Captain Marvel on Friday the 28th at 4:30 p.m. as our afternoon matinees, our Friday matinees.
You know what? I can get one more plug-in for a past episode because we did a
Captain Marvel episode
186.
Yeah.
Special guest star Hillary from the Previously on X-Men podcast.
And on Tuesdays, we have our kids hangout at 4:00 p.m. And on Wednesdays, we have our teen night at 5:30 p.m.
Be sure to check out our website and Facebook, David A. Howe Public Library, where you can find all the information about the adult program because we have programs and prizes for all ages. We've got craft classes. We've got special movie showings, as I've said. We've got some all sorts of things happening here. So check it out, davidahowpubliclibrary.org or on Facebook, or stop in and see us at 155 North Main Street in Wellsville.
Yeah. Might leave that in.
Folks, thanks for tuning in for 200 plus episodes. That was a long one. We're happy to have you. We'll hope you'll stick around for the next 200. We'll see you then.
All right. We are no longer recording on Audacity, but you're still on stream.
Hi, everybody. We're there. You kept laughing. Were people asking us funny things?
Oh, do you not have the chat open?
I just was...
Yeah, Dreamy keeps saying stuff. What did he say? What did he say that made me laugh?
You know what? Is he still there? Are you still there, Dreamy? Because I got to tell you this. I was in the store the other day with my son, and we were grocery shopping, and he was like, oh, Dad, look. He's 5. And he points up, and he's like, Sour Patch cereal. Unplanned, but it actually happened.
That's funny. Yeah.
Anything else? Anything else we need to discuss?
Whoa.
I don't know why we're talking about Lake Placid, but I went to a conference at Lake Placid.
Because we were talking about the alligator movie.
I didn't see any crocodiles there. I also didn't go to the Olympic Museum, but...
Oh. No, I guess we ain't got nothing much else.
Okay.
Unless you want to talk about like an alternate universe where the sequel to Days of Future Past had the original cast.
I would watch that.
Yeah, I know.
I would watch it.
I was thinking like that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Nobody really cared about the new cast, even though like maybe they were decent.
Yeah.
But just bring back James.
I didn't realize First Class didn't do well.
It did. It made money, but it didn't, like, considering how much money the series used to make. It was I think the lowest grossing series. I think even like the Wolverine made more money than it. So don't forget, this was coming after like 2 not great movies.
Yeah.
First Class. So, all right. I guess I'm playing Suikoden over on my Twitch stream.
Oh, that's
which is a JRPG from 1996 on the PS1. There's a lot of PS1 Japanese role-playing games that I need to play.
Interesting.
So I'm going through them.
Okay.
That names won't mean anything to you. I need to play
Did you tell
Celeste.
them where? You can find Dusk vs. Tweak.
Dusk vs. Tweak.
Anywhere on the internet.
Another game you should play with your kid
Yeah.
is Shovel Knight.
It's
not 2 players.
Check it
but
out.
you can play in front of him.
Well, neither is Celeste.
It's 2D platforming, but a little bit like DuckTales, a little bit like Mega Man. Not too hard. You won't die as much as you did in Celeste, for sure.
It'd be impossible
But it's a lot of fun. Anyway.
Okay. Well, goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Oh, that's right. Suikoden's based off of a Chinese book. All right. Bye, everybody, for real.